What is up, pizza fans? It's your boy Graham, also known as HAMHOCKS42 on the internet, and today we have a fun Explorer deck to take a look at. And this deck is a creation by the one and only Sir Hamilton, who is a regular competitor at the PizzaBox tournaments, and also just a phenomenal deck builder and pilot of these things. And with this deck, they were actually able to get into the finals of the first slice of Explorer that took place on June 12th, 2022. And so let's take a look at the deck itself, see what it's all about. And interestingly enough, they were able to make it to the finals. They were taken down by another competitor, Joao Afonso, who actually ran another Selesnya aggro list. So this is a Selesnya aggro build. However, the winning deck list was actually more of a life gain angel tribal, whereas this is more human tribal, a little more low to the ground, a little faster. So let's see what it's all about. So we've got a couple of phenomenal one-drops in Hopeful Initiate and Dauntless Bodyguard. These are, I mean, I remember a day when Savannah Lions was a phenomenal card, and it was just a 2-1 for 1. That's all it was. And here we have a 2-1 for 1 from Dominaria that most people have forgotten about at this point. That can also keep one of your other creatures alive through things like a board wipe. It's pretty good. But we also have Hopeful Initiate, Luminarch Aspirant, Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, Thalia's Lieutenant, which are just amazing cards that help buff your humans. So here we have Luminarch Aspirant, which can buff the Hopeful Initiate or itself. Thalia is a phenomenal tax on decks like decks that are running non-creature spells. So any kind of burn situation is going to get hurt by this fairly significantly, as are most control decks, because when your counter spells cost 1 more or your bounce spells cost 1 more, it's very easy to get thrown off curve and be a little bit behind, be one step behind your opponent who's beating you down with some pretty big threats. One of which is Thalia herself, which is pretty cool. Great card. But you knew that. We all know this card's great. In any event, we also have Thalia's Lieutenant. When it enters the battlefield, put a +++ counter on each other human you control, and whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a ++ counter on Thalia's Lieutenant. You get it coming and going. It's great. We also have Catilda, Dawnheart Prime, which is a 1/1 with protection from werewolves, which is generally irrelevant, but there are a couple of really powerful werewolves, especially in the mono green aggro list that's out there. Being able to chump block a werewolf pack leader all day feels pretty good. So that's not nothing, but it's not the main reason she's here. We also have human creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of this creature's 1 mana of any of this creature's colors. So it turns all of our humans into mana dorks, which is very powerful. And then we can also pay 6 to put a and tap to put a ++ counter on each creature you control. Probably not going to take advantage of that very often, but hey, it's nice to have the option. We also have Elite Spellbinder, the Paolo Vitor Domidarosa World Championship card from Strixhaven. This thing is a house. Again, we know it, we love it. It can monkey with your opponent's hand, and it's a 3-power flyer, who also just incidentally happens to be a human, so we get to enjoy all of those synergies. We also have Adeline. This is one of the most powerful 3-drops we've seen in a long time. When you first read it, it might read like this was meant for commander, and then you face it in a white aggro list like this, and you realize, no, this is actually pretty good in 1v1 as well. It's just very, very powerful, and it pumps out humans. Like, what more do you want? Skyclave Apparition, solid removal, and it helps advance our board state. We also have the Hamlet Vanguard. This is there's only a 1 of in the deck, but it is an awesome finisher potentially, because when it enters the battlefield, it gets 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each other non-token human you control, of which we have a ton, as you've seen. So this thing has an opportunity to come in and be gigantic, and it just so happens to have Ward 2 to boot. Also, the dude's wielding 2 shields. It's an interesting choice. And I gotta say, yeah, it's a very interesting loadout. I have a feeling this guy's really tough to take down. Just a thought, which I guess makes sense with the ward. Anyway, then of course we have Collected Company. Like, when you're looking at an aggressive deck like this in the Explorer format, or Historic for that matter, and pretty much, well, in every single one of the threats is a creature below 3 mana, you gotta know Collected Company is gonna be here. This card is incredible. It's amazing. It is definitive. In the Explorer format, it defines the format. Well, not necessarily defines the format, but certainly defines decks like this. If you're not familiar with Collected Company, look at the top 6 cards of your library, put 2 creature cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Just any of these. Luminarch Aspirant, Thalia, Skyclave Apparition, Adeline, Spellbinder, they're all phenomenal hits, and you get 2 of them. What more do you want? Yeah, this card's amazing. And it's an instant, so you can do this on your opponent's end step and then attack with whatever just came in. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, so that's the main deck. There's not really, I'm about to say there's not really much to it, but at the end of the day, there's a lot going on. It's just very straightforward. We play amazing humans that synergize with each other and buff other humans, and then we proceed to beat our opponent to death with them. Skyclave Apparition being the only non-human in the mix, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as far as our creature suite goes, it's the only non-human, but my goodness, it's definitely worth it. And then in the sideboard, we have a couple of key pieces. We have Tormod's Crypt. This is a phenomenal way to monkey with graveyard-based strategies. Portable Hole, phenomenal way to deal with aggressive strategies from your opponent, or tokens. Being able to just pay 1 and erase whatever token they have on the board. Yeah, it's pretty good. You can do a lot with that. We have 2 Outland Liberators, notably these humans from, or these werewolves rather, from Innistrad, Midnight Hunt specifically. Crimson Vow had a couple of them as well. Are humans on the front face. So if it is daytime, they do count as humans. If it's nighttime, they don't. They only count as werewolves. So that's important to know. But when it's daytime, it's go time. These things are live and online. They're humans. We also have a 1 of Unlicensed Hearse. Again, graveyard destruction, much like the Tormod's Crypt. The exception being with the Unlicensed Hearse is that it can become a beat stick later in the game, in addition to hating on your opponent's graveyard right off the top. Pretty great. Speaking of phenomenal werewolves that are humans during the day, we have Brutal Cathar. So we have 2 Brutal Cathars in the sideboard, and then we also have another non-human creature in Redain, God of the Worthy. We have a 4th Skyclave Apparition chilling in the side. We also have an Augur of Autumn and 1 Elspeth Resplendent. So that's the sideboard. Elspeth Resplendent, by the way, a 5-drop in this deck is not necessarily where you want to be. However, her downtick is in this deck specifically, where all of our inexpensive permanents that we could be digging for, on the top 7 cards, that's almost like another Coco. Like, it's almost like another Collected Company. It allows us to search for a creature with mana value 3 or less. In this case, it's theoretically any permanent. It could even be a land, but I mean, in this case, in this deck, is look at the top 7 cards, choose one of them except Collected Company, and just put it into play. That's dope. So it's very powerful, but it is a 5-drop, and because because this deck wants to be swinging fast, if you have Elspeth, say, in your opening 7, it's going to feel pretty darn bad. So as a result, it's only 1 of, and beyond that, it's only in the sideboard because it's not part of the main game plan. But yeah, it's one of those situations where you might force your opponent to respect it in an open decklist situation, because this deck was designed for an open decklist situation. And to be honest, it's a cool card that you might be able to slot in if your opponent is playing more of the controlling game and you need to restock for the late game. So yeah, so that's the deck. Let's run this thing out into the ladder, play a couple of games. For the purpose of this video, we are going to be playing best of 1, but let's give it a shot. And also, if you enjoy competitive decks like this, if you want to see some more like this, we actually host regular tournaments here at the PizzaBox on Hollywood Pizza's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Hollywood Pizza. If you are not currently following Hollywood Pizza, please do so. That is where all the tournaments happen. There are 3 tournaments every month. They're all free to enter, and we would love to see you out there. We vary the different formats. Like, for example, the one where this showcased itself was, or where Sir Hamilton showcased this deck, was Explorer. We also just recently had a standard event, and we have a historic event coming up as of this recording. You can also take a look at our upcoming schedule on MTG Melee. There are links to all those goodies in the description below. Please check those out and see what we have coming up as of the time you're watching this. Yeah, we'd appreciate it very, very much. And again, they're free to enter, so why not? They take place on Sunday afternoons. If you've got nothing else going on, we'd love to see you out there. So thank you so much. Let's get into some gameplay. I see 3 lands, most of which are white. I see a 1-drop, 2 drops, 3 drop. Yeah, looks like this looks like a snap keep. And we're going up against elves, it would seem. Okay, I'm going to throw the Dauntless Bodyguard. Now, it is beneficial for the Dauntless Bodyguard to have another creature on the battlefield when it first enters, but because our mana is going to be taken up with these other options, with Thalia and Thalia's Lieutenant, ooh, Fight Rigging on 2, that's pretty tasty. I'm not mad at that. Because we have all these other options, I want to make sure that I want to make sure we put as much power on the board as possible right now. And we have a potential issue there. I think I may want to throw Thalia's Lieutenant here. It makes sense to throw Thalia's Lieutenant or Thalia, because with the Fight Rigging down, my biggest concern is that they follow it with like a Reservoir Kraken, and they have 2 blue sources, so they easily could. So something like that would suck, and Thalia wouldn't help in that situation, whereas Thalia's Lieutenant does buff the bodyguard. I actually think I'm going to throw Thalia here, because they're also running Yorion. So a lot of things can happen here. I'm going to disrupt some of their... I'm hopefully disrupting some of their options. That's my goal here. Fabled Passage with as the third land. That's not usually a good thing. Ooh. And then also not casting a creature before the fight ring trigger. That's a great thing for us. I'll take it. All right. All right, all right, all right. Now, drawing a bunch of lands is not necessarily ideal. I don't know how else to finish that sentence. It's just not very ideal. All right, Skyclave Apparition's coming out. I'm going to go ahead and smoke the Llanowar Elves here, assuming they don't have some kind of counterspell. It does not appear that they do. This negates their mana and also pulls a 3/3 off the board, which is pretty sweet. And if they do kill the Skyclave Apparition to get it back, they just get back a 1/1 vanilla spirit. So it's a pretty big loss for them. And because they don't have any other creatures on land. I mean, to be honest, the Llanowar Elf was not going to be triggering Fight Ringing anytime soon. That was going to be... It was going to take a long time for that. And that was actually not a bad play with the Growth Spiral. However, because a land did not come into play, I feel very confident they are stuck on 3 lands. Because they even dug with the Growth Spiral and didn't find one. So that's nice. I like that. Now they have black mana down. So they might have Shakedown Heavy or Rotting Registrar. That would kind of suck. Except for the kind of part. But if they did, they would have played a pre-combat. It's looking good. Looking good. More lands. Not loving that, if I am completely frank. Yeah, we're hitting a lot of lands. Also, just one detail that I have not mentioned as of yet. I will be playing best of 1 games for the purpose of the video, just because time is precious, and also I'm really wretched at sideboarding, and I don't want y'all to see that. But no, we're gonna be jamming best of 3, best of 1 games for the purpose of this video. Yeah, and as a result, things should move by fairly quickly. All right, Donald's Bodyguard is gonna get roughed up by a shark. I don't love that, but it is what it is. All right, we need to draw some critters here fast, or a Coco. Actually, a Coco would be sweet. And if we get a Coco, I'm going to rip it main phase so the Thalia's Lieutenant can get some buffs. That's my thought there. They have another Growth Spiral. They hit a main, going after some more lands. All right. Catilda. It's a card. Catilda does qualify as a card. Ding ding. Thalia's Lieutenant is going to tick up. And that's game. Exactsies, baby. Woo! All right. Human aggro doing what it does. Let's move on to the next game. I see 3 lands. Hopeful Initiate into Aspirant, into Spellbinder, into Coco. Yes, please. All day, every day. Hook it to my veins. All right, Hopeful Initiate's coming out. Sweet turn 1. Sweet turn 1. Oh, and we got a Thalia? We got a Thalia, everybody. Check it out. It's Thalia. Definitely playing Thalia. We're going to disrupt their plans while putting 2 power on the board. Because the other option we had there was Luminarch Aspirant. We could drop the Luminarch Aspirant, buff the Luminarch Aspirant. That way next turn we could trip the training on the Hopeful Initiate. But now we can play the Luminarch Aspirant, buff Thalia, swing with the team, trip the training on the Hopeful Initiate. Life is good. Thoughtseize? Ooh. Now, notably, Thalia is taxing our collected company. It's mildly problematic, but not the end of the world. Like, way not the end of the world. To be honest, what they're looking at right here, knowing that the collected company's in here is a big deal, but the Luminarch Aspirant is probably the biggest threat. That's probably what I go for. Now, if they have some secrets in their hand that they don't want us to see the Spellbinder, well, Spellbinder wouldn't have been a bad hit, but as it stands, definitely just ripping that right now. Show me your secrets, opponent, what you got. Divide by 0. I want to make that Torrential Gearhulk damn near impossible to play. Nikki B. Dragon God is also a problem. But Thalia's dealing with all this, and they don't have I mean, they can divide Thalia once they have 4 lands. Putting Divide Out of Reach is pretty tasty. Actually, I think that's exactly what we need to do. Look at Divide Out of Reach. The Gearhulk was also a pretty tempting target. I will admit. But I think a 6-drop is just going to be a non-factor here. Now, if they have another mana that can produce blue or black, Night Veil Predator can come online. And that's actually a real threat. That's no joke. 3/3 flying, death touch hexproof. I mean, you can do a lot worse than that. Oh, yes. Let's monkey with the hand some more. K-Command. K-Command is pretty good. Pretty good. But I want to get that Night Veil Predator out of reach. Trigger Training, just deal quite a bit of damage. And just like that, our opponent's down to 3. Like, this deck is capable of producing so much damage on between, like, turns 3 and 5. It's absolutely absurd. Like, absolutely absurd. Just the efficiency. That's the name of the game of this deck. Efficiency. And we saw it there. Let's see if we can do it again. All right, we have another 3-lander with a Hopeful Initiate and the Luminarch Aspirant. Like, is this what it feels like to always have it? I feel like when I go up against an amount of white deck on the ladder, they always freaking have it, and it feels awful. And now here we are playing a very heavily, like a heavy white aggro deck, and we seem to always have it. It's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Hopefully Initiate getting stomped. That is not a bad choice, opponent. Not a bad choice at all. I get it. Absolutely get it. Now, I have a potential to miss sequence here. I think we play that out as white. Luminarch Aspirant buffing itself. And next turn, we can drop the Dauntless Bodyguard and the Thalia's Lieutenant. Put some more power on board, which could be pretty sweet. Or we can drop the Elite Spellbinder and go tinker with their hand. Ooh, they strangle. Ooh, opponent is sick of getting beat by aggro, and they've got they got the heat. All right, fair enough. Let's just get some Elite Spell. Show me what else you got. I want to take a look at your hand. Let's see what you're working with. Show me what you're working with. Okay, that's one of them. That is a spell that you are working with. Fires. This is a fires deck. Okay. I want that Fable out of reach, because that Fable's going to ramp them. Okay. And they drew the land. Dang it. Here's one of the Bone Crushes. Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher. It's silly, but I stand by it. All right, we're gonna throw a Dauntless Bodyguard first. I shouldn't have shocked that in. That was stupid. All right. I should learn how to do maths good. All right. But now we can trade with the Bone Crush, which is not ideal, but we can pull the Strangle out of their hand more likely, but that's okay. All right, Fable's online because they got the initial casting cost for free. All right. This whole situation is mildly problematic. Except for the mildly part. There's Strangler. Sure. Hear that? That sigh of relief. Yeah. The joys of Coco. See, do they discard the 2 cards to the Fable of the Mirror Breaker, or up to 2 cards? They do. It was land and growth spiral. That was probably the right choice, because those are the early setup pieces. Once you have fires, you just the land might have been useful, but you need lands, and then your big payoffs is really the name of the game, or draw spells, because you need to be drawing a lot of cards. Fires of Invention. So I play a lot of Fires of Invention. I think that card is excellent and very, very powerful. The thing about it is you run out of cards fast, so you need to be drawing cards. Like, you just do. There's no way around it. All right, here we go. Coco before blockers. I think we go Thalia and the Lieutenant here. Thalia's Lieutenant, interestingly enough, yeah, enters the battlefield at the same time as Thalia, so that's pretty cool. Block on. The doink. Now, they still have some spells to spell, so let's see if they spell a spell to spell. How many times can I say spell? Spell, spell, spell. Now, we do have a Gonjo back, which we can channel for only 2 right now, as long as Thalia survives. That's not a given. We also need to keep an eye on that Den of the Bugbear they've got over there. That can be a problem later. Actually, with that treasure, that could be a problem as early as next turn. Because the cool thing about Fires of Invention, you're free casting all your spells. So all your mana is open to do stuff like animate lands. So, it's pretty cool. Karn the Great Creator, they can go fetch some goodies out of their sideboard. Yeah, don't like that. Oh, they did have to pay the Thalia tax. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. Oh, Combustible Gearhulk. I know that card. Yeah, I know that card. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Catilda also not bad, to be fair. To be fair. Let's see. Let's throw Catilda here. Buff, buff, buff it up. Thalia's Lieutenant. Buff, buff, buff it up. Give a little ching-ching to the ching-chings. Now, Combustible Gearhulk is a 6/6 first striking creature. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If the player doesn't, then you mill 3 cards, and Combustible Gearhulk deals damage to that player equal to the mana value of those cards. Pretty scary stuff, if I'm honest. It's yeah, it's pretty big, pretty big. Now, I kind of want to go after Karn here. I mean, Karn is cards. The Combustible Gearhulk is a non-factor. Yeah, I'm going to trust my gut here. The Combustible Gearhulk is a non-factor if they don't draw another land. They can't free cast the Gearhulk without one more land. If they have one more land, however, then bad things happen, especially if with that Fable on board. Or the Reflection on board, I should say. Never mind, they can bypass the Fires of Invention free cast and just pay for it. Yeah, draw the cards. I've killed, like, in my Fires of Inventions list, I've killed people because they got cocky, let me mill the cards, and I domed them for like 18. I'm not going to risk that here. That could be incredibly dangerous. Now, we need to get the Reflection off board immediately, because if they're able to copy the Combustible Gearhulk with haste next turn, we are humped. It is not even close. Oh no! They got rid of our first striker. That's a huge problem. Huge. Holy problems, Batman. We got problems. All right. There's a non-zero chance we just die here. Let's see. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 Manya available. You know what? 6. Can't afford to attack into that. Oh, damn it. We're 1 off. Because Catilda can't tap herself. Yep, I should have put the +1/+1 counter on Thalia's Lieutenant. Alright, you know what? I'm not going to give him the cards. Let's roll the dice. Mirror grabbing 2 lands. So 7 to the face. That hurts a lot. It's not fun. I don't like that. Could have been a lot worse, though. Could have been a lot worse. Mirror Crab is actually a really cool tech in there, though. Because Mirror Crab is a 7-drop creature that you can theoretically play with Fires of Invention. But Fires of Invention spell says you can't cast spells when it's not your turn, but channeling is an activated ability, so you can channel it and still get a counter spell on your opponent. So actually, it gives you access to a counter spell in a Fires of Invention deck, which is pretty sweet. That's rare, and I like it. Yeah, it's pretty neat. The lieutenant can take one for the team. Yeah, and the issue was Catilda, in order in my mana math that I did there, I would have to use Catilda's ability as well as tapping her for mana, which obviously I can't do. Fart. Yeah, our opponent just put together a really cool game plan, and I don't think we can come back from this. It's all good, though. It's all good. Let's see. Let's see. Coco off the top would be nice. Earlier, that would have been great. Actually, you know what? We can still blow up fire. Actually, no, we can blow up the Gear Hulk. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's absolutely what we're doing. Check this out. And we can also blow up Kiki. Pew pew. Get out of here, combustible Gear Hulk. Thank you, Hopeful Initiate. Appreciate you. Mirror Shell Crab. Oh, you turd burglar. That's right, I said it. Turd burglar. Am I only allowed to... Oh, I don't have the mana for it. Never mind. Yeah, draw the cards. They should be able to beat us with that. They really should. I mean, if they go all in here, we have to block everything. I mean, we theoretically could let Bone Crusher through, but that's not going to work. Oh, they're going to activate the den. Activate the den of the Bugbear. We don't have enough blockers. Yeah, they got it. All right. It's all good, though. It's all good. Or not. That's fine, too. Okay. They might have something else up their sleeve. I'm not... It's not one of those situations where, haha, you've messed up, therefore I win. No, that's definitely not what we're dealing with here. But it's a fun idea, right? We got Thalia back. That's fun. But not going to be enough. Yeah. So... this is the third match of the video, so this was going to be our last one, so sorry we weren't able to end on a high note, but we did get a chance to see this deck pop off and do exactly what it likes to do. So thank you so much for checking out the video. Huge shout out to Sir Hamilton for putting this thing together and putting on a phenomenal show with it last week at the Explorer event. Yeah, and you know what? Let's just spin it to win it. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Appreciate it. Like I said at the top, we do actually have 3 tournaments monthly here at the PizzaBox. MTG Melee, PizzaBox MTG. Yeah, we're an organizer out there. Definitely check us out, please. We would appreciate it very, very much. We'd love to see you out at those events. Hosted by Hollywood Pizza, twitch.tv/Hollywood Pizza. So thank you so much, and we will catch you on the next one. All right, everybody, stay cheesy.